Do you sign Patrick Surtain, who just turned 24 and has established himself as a Pro Bowler, all-pro corner? Do you sign him into what would likely be the largest contract for a cornerback in the NFL? Or do you trade him with the idea that if you get enough in return, you can help speed up the rebuild, especially if you're somebody that views the cornerback position as how important is it really? So some reaction here that we've been receiving, a lot of it, on the RamosLaw.com text line. Paying PS2 is a no-brainer. Broncos gained $20 million in cap space just from paying Russ less alone, so let's pay an actual player instead of paying pretenders like the Broncos have been doing the last 8 years. So you got that side.
Mm-hmm.
Another one comes down. I love PS2, but he doesn't make enough game-changing plays. Is that a fair critique? Or does he get a chance to make game-changing plays? Because in those moments where maybe the game is hanging in the balance, teams don't throw to him. And does that speak to his value?
Yeah, I think it's the latter of those two. I think when you're really that good, then teams find other places to attack. So you don't get that many opportunities. Like a guy like Darrelle Revis. I don't know how many interceptions Darrelle Revis ended his career with, but there were a lot of times where he was just considered the best corner in football, and he was great. I mean, great. We just didn't get a lot of action. And oftentimes, whether he was, I know when he was in New England, they put him on the number 2 receiver and just say, shut that guy down. We're gonna play cover 2 to the opposite side, and we're just gonna shut down their star receiver with double teams.
Can I play devil's advocate to that?
Yes, please, Johnny.
PS2 had a chance to make a game-changing play against Davante Adams in overtime.
He did.
I think you were calling that game, weren't you, Stink? No?
When was that? Was it
I think that was in Vegas. So
no, I didn't.
Yeah, you did the one in Denver, and then he had the opportunity to make a game-changing play against the Patriots on the left sideline, 1v1
on that third
against
down
Devontae
play.
Parker.
Yep. But
you guys have way better.
But we've established that Johnny hates Patrick.
Yeah, well, you guys have way better memories than me. I don't remember. Look, I don't remember driving here. I remember the first hour and 51 minutes of the show. I don't remember. How the hell do you remember that?
Another one on the RamosLaw.com text line. I love Patrick Surtain, but if I could get 2 first-round picks, I would do it. Yeah. If you're, but it's funny to me because as somebody else said, I know what bad cornerback play looks like, so I'd rather keep PS2. We could argue what the true value of Patrick Surtain is, or the true value of a shutdown corner.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is I know what bad cornerback plays look like, and I've seen Bronco defenses and I've seen other defenses where quarterbacks and offenses just pick on corners.
Yeah.
And
so
it's one of those things where it's like you almost like don't appreciate a guy like Patrick Surtain until maybe you take him out of this defense, and then you look at it and you're like,
right.
Maybe I should have thought more highly of him than I did.
So, Texter, you would rather have 2 first-round draft picks than Patrick Surtain. So you could draft guys like Jerry Jeudy and Noah Fant? Like how are they operating for us right now? What did they do when they were here? You have a known commodity. Patrick Surtain is one of the top 3 corners in football. Is that fair?
Easily.
One of the top 3 corners in football. So you would rather go for the unknown and draft Noah Fant and Jerry Jeudy?
Well, you're talking about a team that hasn't drafted well. Why don't you find me a team that has had a history of drafting well and arm that team with 2 first-round picks? What would they do with it? What did Seattle do with the haul that they got from us? Did pretty well with it, didn't they?
Well, I mean, that kind of remains to be seen. How about Kansas City? They've won a bunch of They've won a bunch of games against us, right? Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Or how about McCole Hardman?
What about Trent McDuffie?
McDuffie's a good player. Yeah, that was 2 years ago. All I'm saying is it's a 50-50 crapshoot. The NFL draft's and we act like.
But you can find plenty of examples of teams that have turned things around. Look at Sean. Look at Sean in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
He had those 3 straight years in the middle of a really great run in New Orleans where they went 7-9. And what kind of turned around the second part of his career in New Orleans was a game-changing draft, right? In which they hit on like 4 guys.
And a lot of those guys after the first round.
Yeah, I'm not talking about first-round picks as much as I'm just talking about the draft.
I mean, look at the Raiders. Tyree Wilson, last year's, he's a backup. Dylan Parham, he's a starter at the guard position. Alex Leatherwood is a free agent right now. Henry Ruggs, we know he had he's in jail. And Colin Farrell. I mean, again, all I'm saying is you would rather dip into. So there's not one team here. I can go through. I'm just going through I'm going through this division. Okay, so I mean, every one of these teams in the last 5 years. So assuming you had 5 first rounders. Every one of these teams had at least 2 busts over the last 5 years of guys they drafted in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders have like 5 busts,
Mm-hmm.
5 for 5. They are a consistent group when it comes to drafting.
They are
poorly.
consistent.
But
a commitment to excellence.
Yes.
Ow!
More like a commitment to excrement. So, I mean, but the point being, the point that I'm getting at is I want to keep known commodities. And I'm not afraid of paying really good players because ultimately, if you sign with the biggest contract there is out there, you know who's going to usurp that? Sauce Gardner will jump over it. Somebody else will jump over it.
And besides, you know what it's going to be? Whatever that contract is when Patrick Surtain signs it, it'll be heralded as the largest contract ever given to a NFL cornerback, and it'll basically be a 2 or 3 year deal.
Correct. It'll be a 5 or 6 year deal on paper.
Yes.
That will have outs after 3 seasons.
And the bulk of the money will be spent up front. And so this is not a Gabe Landeskog or Val Nichushkin or Michael Porter Jr. crippling contract.
Right.
It just isn't. It's not the same. It's just totally different sport. So when you talk about signing a guy like Patrick Surtain, it's not the same in terms of, oh boy, this is going to age poorly as the years go on. So you might as well sign a guy for a team that hasn't been able to really find good or great players over the last decade. You found one, so
right.
Why not keep him?